Y'all, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into this review, recap, summary. You know how we do it. The Boys, Season 4, Episode 6, Dirty Business. And
Get it, don't be timid when you ain't it, apply that. Love up on it, give along, leave it. I don't want no trip, baby, say like it.
here. My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? Y'all, it was dirty. It was dirty. It was nasty. But I want to say the last 10 minutes, it gave me a little bit of something to be hopeful for in these final two episodes, right? Let's get right into it. Butcher is out here with his imaginary friend, sick and twisted, as sick as ever, tossing it all up and giving Samir a week to develop this virus. And Samir says, what about Zoe? What about all these people? What about Vic? You know what I mean? I just can't do it for you, Butcher. And Butcher and Kessler are like, no, you have to do it for us. Meanwhile, Hughie is on the Made in Manhattan walking tour, sprinkling ashes around the city. Okay. Hughie tells his mama everything. And I said, Hughie, you talk too much. You talk too much, Hughie. I don't care that that's your mama. She just became your mama again. Let's be very sincere and very real. She looks back and sees Kamiko downtrodden, countenance on the ground, and says, what's the matter with her? And says, oh, her friend Frenchie, who used to be part of our group, he unalived a lot of people and he turned himself in, and she's upset about it. Again, we don't really need to revisit it. But then we see Kamiko go to visit Frenchie, and Frenchie don't want to see her. Refuse the visit, ma'am. And Kamiko doesn't know what to do with herself. She's stressed and worried. Speaking of stressed out, MM is stressed out to the max, trying to meditate, trying to get his emotions and feelings together, and he just can't get right? Because firecrackers on the news, the people are busting through the door, and he's like, listen, we need to go to the tech night party tonight. It's an alt-right party. We need to sneak you in. Our CI A Train has given us the tea and let us know that Webweaver has an invite. So we just got to convince Webweaver to give the tickets over. Okay. And so he goes to Webweaver with whatever dope Webweaver was looking for, whatever substance. And y'all, this is what sent me the injection of it into nether regions. I can't abide it. And mother's milk, I can't believe you did it. It's never that deep. It was never that deep. And so Huey volunteers as tribute, of course, because Huey, we ain't seen enough of Huey apparently. Honestly, y'all, Huey got on my nerves because it's always this. He's always going to get caught up, and it's always going to be a mess, and somebody's always going to have to rescue him. I'm just Aggie. And I used to love Huey. I loved Huey first season. Anyway, so they make it to the tech night party. Huey's supposed to get in, plant a device, and get out. But does he do that? No, because apparently Web Weaver has been auditioning to be Tech Knight's uh second, right? Robin to his Batman. Because when we went down into the lair, it really was giving racist Alfred. Like, I don't know, y'all. Y'all tell me what you think about that. But Starlight says, we can use Butcher, but he's MIA right now. And I'm like, Starlight, not you asking for Butcher, who you can't stand to be around, but really they did need Butcher on this mission. But Butcher is out with his imaginary friend, okay? Starlight says, Huey, sit this one out. You've been going through a lot. This is not the way to do things. And I'm like, right, Huey, sit out of it. Just Huey, find something else to do. But alas, it's too late. Next thing we see, Huey's got Web Weaver's suit on, and, he's ready to go, allegedly. Meanwhile, at the party, Homelander, Ryan, and Sister Sage, they all meet there, and she's like, we're on the right track. And then we meet Tech Knight. Okay. And Tech Knight is just so elated that Homelander is in his space, and we get more information about Tech Knight. Tech Knight comes from a long line of rich racist people. Okay. His great 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 granddaddy used to be slave catchers, and now they own prisons. Privatized institutional slavery is what they're all about. Okay. And he says to A Train at some point, my granddaddy would have loved finding you, but he would have got you. And A Train's like, oh, really? How they sit through this, I have no clue. But Tech Knight meets Homelander, and Homelander says, I don't know what you think this is, Tech. This is your means to an end. Like, we need this old money to pass this 25th Amendment for these internment camps, all that stuff. But you're nothing. You're pathetic. You can't even fly. Like, who are you? Okay. Sage sees Ashley come in, and Sage is like, I thought I said, this is for the soups. This is the grown-up table. Okay. You're not welcome here. And Ashley said, you better ask about me. You better ask somebody if you don't know, because me and Tech go way back, and we find out about that later, honey. Nasty, nasty work. Nasty work. And so basically, we find out that Tech Knight also is Sherlock Holmes on meth. He has got super sight, super sonic hearing. All of his senses are on 10,000. Okay. And so that's what makes him, the best at solving crimes, discovering, and apparently slave catching. Okay. The seven are here. Hughie bumps into Vic, and I'm like, oh Lord. But thankfully, Web Weaver stinks, and so she doesn't pick up his scent or anything like that. And Vic's got her own concerns, right? Because she's probably still mourning Samir. Anyway, Vic and Sage and Homelander, okay? And so they're all trying to get on board. And Vic is like, why am I here? This is not my cup of tea. These are not my people. At some point in the episode, she even has a conversation with one of these billionaires who basically says if a woman is SA'd, her body automatically rejects the prey. Like, come on. And I'm as political as the next girl, y'all, but I don't need all this. Just get to the action. Just get to the action and the storyline. That's all I'm needing. But I think what was interesting was, again, we're getting more and more of Sister Sage's ulterior motives, because at some point in the episode, she has a talk with Vic and is basically like, the only way women like us, right, will ever be anything is if one of us is in the pocket while the other one is slitting throats. And I'm like, well, dang, because we discover a little bit more of Sister Sage's history. She had a grandmother who was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. She spends her couple days in the books, discovers a cure, presents it to the powers that be, and they do nothing with it. They laughed at her and pet her on her head, and her grandmother apparently passed away horrifically. Okay. And so she's still holding that in. And again, connecting with Vic. These are two women of color. You know how it goes. And so we'll see how this pans out if Sister Sage can get it together. I still don't see her full vision, but I think we are closer to seeing it than we ever have been. Homelander mentions to Vic, Stan got out, and Vic says, don't worry about it. He can't hurt us. And we know that's your daddy, honey. He's in the house with you. And so we go down, we meet, Elijah, who raised Master Knight, child, the mess of it all. And then we actually, Huey gets down there in the dungeon, and this is a full on 50 Shades Darker room. Okay. That's what that is. Meanwhile, back at Vought headquarters, the Deep and Noir were not invited. Okay. And we meet the new Noir. We get to see his full face. And Deep is like, put your mask back on. He's like, man, them people left us. I got a gig in Branson, Missouri, where I actually get to fly, because I can fly. And I was like, that was cute. Did we need it? I don't know who Noir is going to be in the future, because we know Noir can be replaced. He wears the mask 24/7. On the other side of everything, Butcher is going through it. Wifey is back, and she's counseling him. Like, okay, Butcher, have you forgotten about Ryan? Have you forgotten about the mission and the quest? Are you completely on a vendetta mission? What is going on with you? And he is like, okay. Party's ridiculous. Newman needs tequila at this point. And the cake. If I never see another chocolate cake on the boys, it'll be too soon. Okay. Because Elijah goes, grabs this cake, brings it down to the Dungeon Freak tour. Okay. And Tech wants Huey to sit on this cake and pass gas. Like, y'all. I can understand the grossness of things if it makes sense, but I don't know if we needed this for a whole 20 minutes in the episode, this whole little back and forth. And then Ashley enters, honey, and Ashley proceeds to tickle his feet and rub one out. And y'all, it was a lot going on. Meanwhile, Butcher is further unraveling. We get just many snippets of him falling apart. And again, Ashley's a dirty heifer. She's just nasty, and I'm mad she has my name. Firecracker and Starlight meet up because Starlight's like, it's taking too long. We got to get to Hughie. So the gang comes into the mansion to find Hughie and rescue him, of course. Firecracker and Starlight is like, I was a different person then. I am so sorry. I take responsibility, all that. Just as Firecracker's about to go off on her, she shoots her in the neck with a tranquilizer, um, some kind of shot. I don't know what it was, but it made her fall out. And I said, at least Starlight got some fight in her. At least Starlight has a little bit of fight left in her. It wasn't everything I needed to see because I need you to light some stuff up, Starlight. Why are we not lighting anything up? Okay. So Huey gets found out because it was only a matter of time, and Tech wants to put new holes in him to get busy with in these new holes. It's just disgusting. Okay. Meanwhile, MM and Kamiko are trying to get down to the secret lair, and Sister Sage is in the room reading a book and taking notes because that's what she does. And she starts trying to get into MM's head about his daughter. And why did you do that? MM Blicky comes out, pop, pop, pop in the head, but we know she regenerates in the brain, so that was only a matter of time. But shortly after that, honey, he falls out. And I'm thinking, did MM just die of a heart attack? I don't know. So Kamiko gets A Train to come get him, take him to the hospital. When he gets there, A Train has a moment where little boy sees him and smiles and looks up to him. And I think, again, we know that A Train has been on this redemption tour. And I really hope that we get to see A Train before he exits, because I do think he's going to be taken out by the end of the season. But I do hope he gets to fully embrace being good. Like, I hope he actually makes a choice to come over to the boys officially and not just kind of working in the shadows undercover. Uh, the crew saves Huey, of course, after they've donated a lot of Tech Knight's money to organizations, Black Lives, all the things, everything he's the antithesis to. And then they get the tea from him about what he's talking about with Sister Sage and Homelander and what this plan is. That's when we get more information about these internment camps for all of the dissonants. Anyone who disagrees with Homelander, they plan to use these privatized prisons to put them in, right? And so that's the plan. And I guess this was Elijah's point break, right? Because at this point, he's like, private prisons, internment camps, prison camps. Oh, Tech Knight, you gotta go. And so he takes him out. The black man who raised him takes him out. And I thought that that was justice. It felt like justice to me. Okay. Um, and so now we are back at Vought headquarters and talking to Homelander, and she says everything. So she's like, Sage is basically lying or useless because the boys were there at the party, which I don't get why Homelander didn't get that when he saw Sage with a bullet hole in her head, right? Because Homelander, are you slipping? They were under your nose the whole time and you just didn't get it? Like, that made no sense to me. And so again, she says, Sage is useless to you, or she's lying because she apparently knew who the real mole was, and it wasn't Cameron. And he says, well, you let Starlight get away, so I could say that you're the traitor, right? And so again, we know Tech Knight is gone, and it was probably Starlight and her friends did it. And then we hear this whole long speech about Firecracker's undying love for Homelander. You're everything to me. And he's like, listen, I'm not attracted to you in that way. I don't like you. Next thing we see, she's squirting milk from her titty, and it's over from there. Next thing we see, they're on the couch and she's rocking him like a baby, and he's wearing the American flag, suckling at her tit. Like, y'all, be so for real. And so Huey is back with Starlight and traumas from being in the basement. And really, he just misses his dad more than anything. Okay. So finally, we get to the last scene, and it's Butcher and Samir, Kessler, and Wifey. Okay. And so we're going strong, and basically Samir is like, listen, if I make a virus this powerful, it'll be completely unstable. It'll be airborne, and it'll cause a global pandemic. And so Kessler's with it. And Butcher's like, I didn't sign on for genocide. And then we see Wifey who's saying, what about Ryan? What about Starlight? What about Kamiko? And so again, they're having this dissertation and she's rapping. And all of a sudden, Kessler is like, shut up, B. And Butcher's like, you see her? You see her? Okay, so you're not real. And he's like, man, look, The real Kessler gone. Okay, you didn't catch him. You didn't drag him out of whatever worn torn situation you were in. I'm basically the worms inside of you. Okay, I run this. I'm the one who unalive Freaky Zeke for you. So when I tell you this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do. Okay, so the theories that everyone had about Kessler being a hallucination were absolutely real, but more nefarious than that, right? Because he is the thing that's inside Butcher that can take over in at any given moment. And so my question is, are we going to see a full evolution of Kessler where he completely takes over Butcher to where there's nothing left? Because right now, I mean, there it's a contest, right? We have the angel on one shoulder and the demon on the other shoulder. What's going to happen with Butcher? That's the big question. And again, I do like that we got this information towards the end of the episode, but as far as my review and overall thoughts, I'm just not captivated or compelled this season so far. Again, hopefully in episode 7 or 8, we get some real unveiling of truths, right? I think normally in the franchise, by this episode, we're working towards a big end, a big finish, a big goal. And I feel like that's still so far away right now. But you guys drop it in the comments below. Let me know. Again, it wasn't the worst episode for me this season. Like I said, we definitely got some answers, and I do like how it ended. But you guys let me know in the comments, and y'all don't forget, tomorrow night we will be live to have a discussion with the panel talking everything The Boys season 4 episode 6, Dirty Business. Come join us. It's going to be fun. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.